Compressed belt tone. This is how you take a belt tone and you just make sure you keep it in a very flattering light. And this is what a lot of great singers do that stay in a very belt quality and they don't move on to mixed voice. And so understanding that, it's not a contradiction because we do talk a lot about opening around the tone, behind the tone. So if I talk a lot about opening, so I took the beginning of that tone, I opened here, I opened backwards into the body, create this nice dimension. If I took that same quality and I just kind of made it a little smaller and I kept what I had from back here, I'd be in a pretty good working place as I got higher. I still have this going on. If I didn't, it's a little top heavy, a little bright. Add the bottom. Add this nice dimension, but then kind of make it a little smaller, and a little, which has a lot to do with pulling back very gently. Still all about this direction, back and down, back and down. I have to know where that is so that I can use it far more subtly than that. I'm pulling back just enough and trying to keep the brightness, because what happens a lot of times when we first learn to do these pulling back and down, we dull things out. Quite likely could turn into kind of sound. I'm stuffy. I open that up, but still have these elements from here, and that's where things are flattering. There's a certain energy involved in doing that. Connecting the dots is kind of coordinative energy that translates very well in singing, and yet the tone still comes out very natural and flattering. So compressed belt tone is key if you want to keep the belt, but have it, it's very flattering, kind of natural, contemporary kind of sound. I build my castles in the sand, fly a plane I cannot land. I'm singing songs without a band. Damn. Build my castles in the sand. If I didn't keep that kind of behaved, I'm pulling back pretty hard here, and I'm keeping it nice and small, mostly by pulling back. I'm not thinking of any kind of constricting here. I'm thinking of this nice anchored tone. Opening up behind it. Everything's this way. And backing off, which we talked about earlier, just enough till it's got these ingredients. Has that energy, and the bottom to the tone versus It's a pretty big difference there. Building castles in the sand. And even if I didn't exaggerate any nasality in that, building castles in the sand, flying planes I cannot land, which is speaking the melody, and you should be able to do that, so that's always a good step. I'm building castles in the sand, but can I add the bottom to that? Building castles in the sand, I'm flying planes I cannot land. And so there's a few things I'm talking about here. One is dimension, which I'll talk about more as time goes on. Working on this big belt tone. Can I keep bringing it back a little more, making it a little smaller so it doesn't quite go so forward. Forward's a dangerous word sometimes in singing. Everything's back here and needs to live back here. Energy, no doubt. Throwing it across the room. Forward. Mechanics, here. If you get too forward in your sound, it sounds very flat and hard. So that's compressed belt tone.